Hi, today I'm joined by David McGoldrick, who is the Chief People Officer at Comfort Keepers, which is a Sodexo brand. So David, thank you so much for joining me today. How are you?
I'm good, delighted to be here and looking forward to what emerges in the next few minutes.
Fantastic. So one of the questions I'd like to ask you is obviously Comfort Keepers is very much frontline in the current situation. So what are you doing to connect your Comfort Keepers employees to the organisation at this time?
Probably simple 3 C's: communication, culture and connectivity. In the early days, we kind of ramped up a very, very aggressive comms team in order to be able to, I suppose, communicate out to the carers around, I suppose, if information that was out there, to try and break it down for them, to make it simple. Connections then in relation to anybody who was out sick, and in the early days, a lot of people would have self-isolated or been told to self-isolate. Daily and weekly connection calls with them to make sure they're okay. We also did this with clients just to connect in with them to make sure. And then culture, I suppose, doing what we say in our values in relation to being caring, quality, professionalism and continuous improvement, demonstrating that, I suppose, to all our workers and to our clients, this is who we are. We're facing unprecedented times. We may not have all the answers, but we listen to you, and we'll be able to give communication back out to you by listening to you. We've done that through comms, through digital. We have weekly Zoom meetings with all the staff if they need, and breaking it down that actually we're there for people. And although there's social distancing, we're probably more connected than we were pre-COVID. So there's a lot of positive learnings from this experience.
Fantastic. Obviously, we're here to talk about International HR Day and really the role of HR within organisations. So, I mean, what would you say is the role of HR going to look like in the future?
I think that's going to be a very big question to answer. I think it'll be how organisations redefine themselves post-COVID. And if you take travel, tourism, sporting, all being deeply impacted, and the service industry being deeply impacted, and the supply chain and consumer demand, organisations in the future are probably going to be much more online, probably going to be much more tech heavy, probably going to be much more digitalized. So HR in this sphere is probably going to have to adapt even more so, and probably take a much more agile approach, and learn as quickly as it can in relation to find out what niches are there. And then the challenge we have too, we're probably going to again have a huge supply and demand. We're probably going to have enough employees who are looking for employment, and HR, again, going back to it being probably an employer-led market, having the right recruitment and selection processes in place to take on the best people, because every hire in a recession is an important hire. It's a costly hire, it's an expensive hire, and it's a strategic decision. And that decision has got to be more right than before. I think during the last recessions, I don't know if HR, or there was enough kind of academic case studies to figure out how HR could have survive more. But I know now all hiring managers, every decision in the future is going to have a huge cost on the bottom line of the company. And it's been able to adapt to that, being much more digital, and then to a certain degree adopting the remote and flexible workplaces that has been thrust upon us in the last kind of 6 months, and working around that with employees, that they're comfortable, the organizations or company are comfortable doing that.
So what do you think are going to be the key skills needed by HR professionals going forward?
I will always say emotional intelligence. I mean, at the end of the day, the technology is there to remove us from our job in relation to recruitment, selection, performance management. It can be all done automatically by AI. It's actually having that skill, that nuance to read an organization, read a room, being able to influence, being able to lead, being leading to change, and being able to motivate organizations. And to a certain degree, HR's role has always been the heart of the organization, and possibly sometimes not been leading at a strategic level, but to offer that, I suppose, different perspective. We are human resource professionals. I mean, it's not a word I particularly like, believe it or not, but we do look after, I suppose, the employee centricity of an organization, and being able to capitalize that as much as possible, both for the employee and for the organization. Because at the end of the day, if you're able to get high productivity from your employees, I don't know again if there's a long-term retention or development plan there. And it's a finite balance of both financial and professional and continuous development for the employee.
And as a senior HR leader, what do you see as your key challenges in the next 12 to 18 months?
I think it's going to be financial. I think it's going to go into the going into markets. I think it's going to be sweating the bottom line in order to try and still bring on board the new products and offerings that we need to deliver, I suppose, to our consumers. I think it's going to be interesting to see where cost of technology goes. Is it going to kind of rise because there's a dwindling supply? Is there going to be less startups that can offer a very, very comparative project, technological product that helps? Or is the market going to get consolidated by the large players? It's going to be around human capital, again, making your hires even more important. Already we can see a kind of rise in applications. That means more processing, more background checking, but again, making sure that the person who's arriving in the organization wants to join the organization as much in theory out of, I suppose, a culture and people match, as opposed to another side where they have to do it a financial necessity.
Okay, well, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure to talk to you today. And,
thank you.
Yes, have a great week.
Stay safe, everybody. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Take care. Bye.